Now you'll see there's two more things that constitute formal discipline. There's a letter of reprimand and a suspension of 14 days or less. Now the reason these are formal is that they have some pretty specific rules that are followed as you get ready to issue this and what you do with it after you've taken this actual step. So the letter of reprimand is the first step of formal discipline. You want to be sure that you have worked with your human resources folks to be sure you're putting the right information and the regulatory stuff in that letter. I'm pretty sure we have a sample of that in our participant guide. I think there's a letter of warning also in there. Once this is actually issued, the letter of reprimand does actually become a record in the employee's temporary side of their official personnel folder. Now, as we move into our electronic OPFs, which is what we're all in the middle of right now, that's kind of new to us, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it only stays there for 2 years. So once the 2-year period is up, or the employee leaves the Department of the Interior, they resign, they go to a different agency, we have to remove that from their official personnel file. So that's really important. That notice is included in that letter. It tells the employee that, and it is, like I said, a building block for more severe discipline if it doesn't get their attention. Typically, that informal or this first stage of the formal discipline really is going to get your employees' attention. Basically, we have all really good employees that we have, and we take a look at that, and this is going to fix your problems 90% of the time. The next level on that formal disciplinary stage is a suspension of 14 days or less. We're going to backtrack just a little bit from the adverse. We'll talk about that in just a minute. A suspension is a pretty serious type of thing, and that has a very set bunch of procedures that we're going to talk about. It requires you as the supervisor to propose to suspend your employee. Now, a suspension means that your employee is actually going to be out of work and without pay for a period of time. The reason this one is 14 days or less is because the appeal process is different in this one and from the next level we're going to talk about. The employee does not have an appeal right to a third party to the MSPB for this type of a suspension. You as the supervisor, you're going to propose what you think is appropriate to suspend your employee, and then you're going to write that up and send it to a deciding official to make the decision. During that time frame, you're going to give the employee an opportunity to respond to the charges that you've made. The employee has 7 days to respond, either orally or in writing, and they're going to respond to whoever the deciding official is. Again, you want to be sure you're working with HR, because probably who is able to actually propose a disciplinary action and who your deciding official is probably different in each location. That might be a different person depending on where you are. So you want to be working with HR at this point. Let's say you as the proposing official are going to propose a 5-day suspension based on your investigation and all the facts of the case. Then the employee goes to talk to the deciding official, and the deciding official says, well, you know, it was really bad, but I think maybe it's not as bad as a 5-day suspension. I'm going to reduce that penalty or mitigate it to a 3-day suspension. The deciding official has the power to do that. They can always make it less than what you've proposed, but never more, okay? They also set the actual number, the actual days that it occurs, whether it's 3 working days for the employee, maybe it's 2 working days and then a day off, so that it doesn't hit them quite as hard. You also want to be sure then that you give them plenty of notice that this is going to occur on such and such a date. One more thing we're going to talk about in conjunction with this, and you always, always, always want to talk to your HR folks. There's always an opportunity to make sure that employees have another option at this point. They can voluntarily ask for a reassignment from their position. They may be eligible for retirement, or they may actually decide they want to resign. Don't discourage them from doing this. Oftentimes, supervisors are feeling kind of bad at this point. They feel like, you know, gosh, I'm really being mean to my employee. Oh, no, 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 we don't want you to resign. You know, that's not it at all. If your employee wants to resign, let them. That may sound kind of cold, but you won't probably regret that in the long run. If they're concerned enough about this behavior, and by the time you reach a suspension, that behavior is pretty serious, or it's ongoing. It's been going on for a long time. Resignation is definitely an option. You have to be really, really careful. You don't want to suggest these options to an employee, but somehow you want to try and communicate it to them so they know that's always out there. You want to, again, work real close with your HR folks, because you don't want the employee to come back and say that, well, my supervisor told me I need to resign or I'm going to get suspended for 10 days. We don't want that to come out of it, so it's kind of a fine line, but it's definitely an option to explore.